Hey, this is episode 11 of the Spin-Off Success Podcast. Welcome to the Spin-Off Success Podcast with Beth Phillips. Join me each week for inspiring stories about people leveraging tools, platforms, systems, and skills to create thriving businesses, successful side hustles, and surprising new careers. Tune in to discover how to turn your skills and expertise into a spin-off success. Hello, this is Beth Phillips. Welcome back to the Spin-Off Success Podcast. Today, I was so happy to have a chance to talk to Ed Latimore. He is a super interesting guy. He's been on my radar for at least 2 years almost. And I've wanted a reason to talk to him because he is a professional boxer. He just graduated with a degree in physics. He's a writer. He's super prolific on Twitter, but he's also a Pittsburgher, and so he's just been super interesting to me. But today I got to pick his brain about how he has leveraged Twitter to promote his products and projects, to amplify his message, to connect with people from all over the world, and just as a really strategic business tool. So I hope you get a lot out of this. He does offer some specific strategies, and he's just a really articulate, interesting guy. So I hope you enjoy the interview. Hi, Ed. Are you there?
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. There's nothing to complain about at all.
That's
in life.
so great. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy as heck, so I appreciate it.
Oh, I don't mind at all. You got me on the Jordan Harbinger show.
Oh yeah, have you gotten a lot of feedback about that?
Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, that was a great interview.
I didn't know he was. I mean, when we talked, he told me that he was almost certainly going to leave the show.
Okay.
And he did, and started his own thing, and I guess he's still up to like 1 million downloads.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I got a lot of people who contacted me and followed me based on that. So it was a very, very good connection. It worked out really well.
That's awesome. No, I'm happy for you, and I knew that he would tell your story in just such a professional way, because you have such a big story. It's hard for people to kind of get a hold of it, but I knew that he would be able to do something great with it, so that's cool.
That's excellent. Well, once again, thank you. So I mean, even I would not mind taking the time out of my day anyway. I have a little more time on my day now. So
that's so nice. I know. All right,
you.
so I'm going to give a little context for why I want to talk to you about Twitter, and it's probably the best way to describe it is that, not surprisingly, I discovered you on Twitter. But what is a little more surprising, I don't follow that many people, and most of the people I follow just share and tweet their own content, which is fine because it still allows me to, get a lot of good, interesting content. But you got on my radar because people who were unrelated to each other were sharing your content. And like completely, they weren't following each other. I think they're super smart, like Naval Ravikant and
oh yeah,
yeah. Way back, he was sharing
another
your
Silicon
stuff.
Valley guy.
I know it. So that's how. So finally, I think I clicked onto something that somebody shared. Again, because you were coming up from these different places. And then I noticed that you're a Pittsburgher and went to Duquesne, and I'm like, I got to connect with this guy. So I think it's so perfect that I get to talk to you today about how you have leveraged Twitter. Does that sound good?
Oh, that sounds great.
Okay, good. Well, I noticed from your profile that you've been on Twitter since like 2012, but did you use it strategically way back then, or did you really just start using it casually as a social platform?
So my little quest on Twitter, yeah, I guess I created the account in 2012.
Okay.
And I think I just created it because it seemed like the thing to do. All the cool kids are doing it, whatever. I really don't remember.
Right.
What I do remember is when I decided this is something I should try and take seriously. But my approach to it was entirely incorrect. I first tried to get a guy to tweet for me because I saw he had a lot of followers. I said, "Hey man, why don't you manage my account? I don't know how you did this." So he did it, but he put me on some kind of follow back bot, which was he would go follow a bunch of people and they would follow back and then we'd unfollow them and it was a mess and my notifications were getting blown up and I was like, this is not what I wanted.
Right.
So I fired the guy and took it over and I said, okay, let me unfollow. And it took me probably 3 months to just get rid of all of these bots.
The junk.
Yeah. And then I started using it strategically. And by strategically, I mean, I used it. My intention the entire time, and this is why I saw Twitter as a valuable resource, is that I wanted to reach out to as many people as possible with my words in mind because I've always had confidence in what I think. And I think I'm an interesting person.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, this is a great tool. It allows me to reach beyond anyone I've ever met in person, which is in theory Facebook's limitation. There are other limitations, but that's the greatest one. The idea is that you're only exposed to the people that you have had some kind of contact with, and your fan page, if you want to expose it to more, it doesn't really. You got to pay to play, basically.
Right. Let me interrupt you, but I want you to continue. Is that what you were using primarily before? Is just Facebook to share your ideas and your writing?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So now continue. Sorry.
So yeah, I think if we want to talk about when I got real serious, for sure, that would be 2014-ish.
Really?
Yeah, that's about right. 2014, 2015, maybe somewhere in that range. Because I remember tweeting from physics class, and I know when I took my first physics class, so it would have been, 2014, 2015.
Okay, so when you go ahead, yeah.
Oh no, you can go.
Well, when you started using it strategically, what kind of things were you tweeting? For example, in that physics class, like what kind of thing would you tweet then?
Well, now when I say strategically, what I mean is now I'm expressing me.
Right. Okay, intentionally.
Which is what I think everyone who uses the platform should aim to do: express who they are.
Okay.
Now there are obviously ways to do that which are better at engaging the audience, but the general idea is that you are the product. Are you interesting? Are you cool? Do you bring something different to the table? Mm-hmm. What is it about you that's unique? And so I got better and better at sharing that. Now, in terms of when I first started tweeting, I mean, when I first started out, I just followed guys that I knew from popular manosphere blogs.
Okay.
So a lot of my content was centered around that and socializing, and occasionally I'd talk about fighting.
Yeah.
And then, but that's all I knew in life, right?
Yeah.
And then as I get deeper into math and I start reflecting more, and I'm really learning what works and what doesn't work, then I really start building the beast up, and I understand more, and it's all just really a gradual learning process of what works well as a tweet, and then getting people who are interested to see my stuff. And I learned how, I think the first big quote unquote break I had, Mike Cernovic noticed me way back.
Oh, okay.
I mean, way back. I can't remember who gave me my first interview, but I know between 1 and 2, and it was Cernovic is either 1 or 2. Wow. And so from there, he had a big following he had already built up from the internet.
Right.
And so I got, brought in through him, and then that exposed me to more people, And now it really is it's so interesting because it's reached a point, and I'm sure that there are new levels, of course, where now I gain about 100 followers a day.
Wow.
And that sounds crazy, but I've done that before. The difference between now and doing it at like 11,000 followers is that at 47,000 followers, it happens almost automatically because
Yeah.
there's so many people that come through and see my content and then retweet it
Yeah.
or like it or something.
Yeah. Well, back then, did you also have at Latimore.com? Were you writing on your site?
Well, when I started Twitter, I didn't have a blog. In fact, I remember people started going, "Oh man, you got to get a blog. You got to get a blog." And I was like, "Oh, I'll do it at 1,000 followers." I think I did it at like 1,200 followers ish.
Okay.
But that yeah, I started there.
Okay. So when for you, because I think I started following you probably in 2016, mid to late 2016, and I remember that you tweeted about a big jump, and I want to say it was like from maybe at 4,000. Does that sound right? 4,000 to 5,000, or would it have been higher than that? Because now you're at like approaching 50,000.
Yeah. In terms of the growth has been really interesting because I remember when I surpassed 1, 2, 10, 30, and 40.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
like I can look in my Instagram because I take screenshots of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to follow that.
Pretty much, I keep tabs on these things,
Yeah, that's good.
and it really I model it off the function E. And for all you nerds out there, or non-nerds,
I'm a non-nerd.
That means I model it off of exponential growth.
Okay.
1 turns to 2, 2 turns to 4,
Okay.
that kind of deal,
Yeah.
right? So it took me 18 months-ish, 2 years to 18 months to grab 10,000 followers. I remember I was in Paris when I crossed 10,000.
Maybe that was it. Yeah,
Christmas.
That might have been that jump that you tweeted about.
And that might have been Christmas 2000. That was Christmas 2016.
That makes sense.
So then, I was just like looking back and I was like, okay, we'll use that as a marker. I think hopefully I'll get another 10,000 this year. Christmas 2017, I had just crossed 35,000.
Wow.
And so it really, because now, there's more people following, sharing.
Yeah.
And then there are other things that really help randomly, like 2017, my interviews with Shane Parrish, the Art of Manliness, and Jordan Harbinger dropped. So I'm sure that contributed greatly.
Yeah.
Also,
it all just feeds itself, which I love. It just is sort of organically grows exponentially,
Yeah, I remember one day in August when it would have been August 2017. I was sitting there and my phone just starts buzzing off the hook, and I'm like, "What is going on?" I look down and I see follow in my push notifications because Scott Adams went and told everyone to follow.
Oh yeah.
So in one hour, I got 5,000 people.
That's unbelievable. So when you experienced those jumps, let's say, if you can remember the 10,000 jump, did you see a translation into book sales, blog traffic, that sort of thing? Was it totally noticeable?
Absolutely. Because I had a really bad launch of my book, and I didn't realize how bad it was until I started studying how to make the next one better.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, I pretty much did everything you could do wrong for a book launch. Fortunately, I got the fundamentals right, which is a great cover and title.
Yeah.
But, and I have a platform, so I guess that's another fundamental.
Yeah.
But every way else, man, it was just really awful. So I think my first month of book sales, I may have made $800.
When did you publish it? What was the first published date?
February 2017.
Oh, okay.
February 17th, 2017. In fact, I remember because I know my birthday and
Right.
Okay. So I did that. Then people kept growing. Then now at that point I had just had I was 10,000 followers. Right.
Yeah.
So as people continue to find me and find my work and find my book, then the numbers have gone up and up and up.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm pretty sure I remember what I did in May of 2017 because I was in Denver dealing with a speech, which is another thing that really
Let's
took
talk about
up
that.
my follower count over the roof.
Yeah, I definitely want to
But
talk about that. Believe me.
I'm pretty sure since then or the month after, I have done at least $2,000 a month in sales consistently. With
That's
like
great.
there were like 2 months, and for a book with a terrible launch, you know, that is fantastic. The next thing I produce, the book is already written. I just
Yeah,
have to get in there and edit it and set up the channels for a proper launch. Oh, I mean, it's gonna be
that's
fantastic.
great. Well, yeah, since you brought it up, let's talk about Denver and how you landed in Twitter jail.
Oh man! And a side note, when you do what I do, Twitter jail is a very effective tool. Some people like to play. Look, some people like to play like they're tough, right? And it's the internet. So when I say tough, I'm talking, they don't care about the rules tough. Not like, oh man, I'm hard in the street tough.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So I got suspended, and then we'll talk about why. But what I want to talk about first is how that affected how I do things.
Okay.
I said, okay, they put me in jail for 12 hours. That's 12 hours where I don't tweet, interact, or deal with anything. And if they deleted my account entirely,
Yeah.
right, would I be able to get some of the followers back? Sure. But a lot of this stuff is random. People popped on
Yeah.
once, and then I lose my name,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So I was like, okay, now, I mean, I haven't been in trouble since, over a year. And I have no intention. I just play along, or I block, or I get out of the way. So everyone listening out there, if you have any intentions of using Twitter the way I use it, which is a tool of total transparency, a platform, and you have your name, look, man, just let the birds fly. Don't engage, because you never know whose side they're going to take.
Yeah.
And
you are in their sandbox. That's what I say. You're in their sandbox, so you have no control over what Twitter, is going to do.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but how did you land in Twitter jail?
How did I land in Twitter jail?
Yeah.
So I got an offer. Once again, the power of Twitter. I got an offer to come speak as the keynote speaker at a tech conference.
Mm.
And I said, heck yeah, I'm going to do it. So I put together a great speech on overcoming your fears and dealing with your ego. And people really liked the speech. I mean, they really liked it. One person in particular, I mean, they were quoting me the whole time. Well, this same person, turns out, I don't know if she was a mole or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we got to pause the story out there at this same person and give you a little background. John DeGoe is the guy who runs the conference.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a what's the word I want? He doesn't play to the left politics.
Yeah. Is that Dark Triad guy or whatever?
No, that's
different
not him. But
Okay.
I met him out there.
Oh, I
was out there.
Okay. Yeah.
Different guy. He doesn't tweet anything crazy.
Yeah.
But all he did the year before, he had a double blind selection for speakers. And based solely on the content of what they were going to speak about, he happened to select a guy based on the content of his speech who's a bit of a white supremacist.
Oh, okay.
And John refused to disinvite him. What John said was, look, if he comes in here talking that stuff, he'll be first if he has to leave.
Okay.
But we selected him based on the content of his work. And that is it. We didn't even know who he was. We just selected based on the work, double blind.
Yeah.
He didn't cave, so that got him a lot of enemies because the tech world is, and I didn't learn this until Denver. The tech world is dominated by leftist politics, and if you don't play, you better have a platform because they control a lot.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's the backdrop of conference and what happened.
Setting the stage. Okay, sounds good.
So what someone did was they went and looked through every single thing I ever tweeted.
Yeah.
And they found every instance where I was talking, because I don't talk about it so much now, but I used to talk a lot about the socio-sexual differences
Mm-hmm.
and the hierarchy of with men and women in modern society.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't talk about that stuff. That was just a
Yeah.
fancy way of saying red pill.
Yeah.
So that they tried to drop the hammer on me,
Okay.
and they went after John and me so badly. This is when I
Was
learned.
this pre-conference or after your
No,
speech?
no. They could. This is the thing. They made this scene. The speaker list was up since, I think, from January. May
Mm-hmm.
I think they put it out the week before my birthday. No, so February
Okay.
for the speech in May. If they really had an issue, they would have looked it up and voiced it then and put the pressure. No, this happened after I gave the speech,
Oh wow.
right? So without going into the details of the various bickering, what ends up happening is it reaches a huge stage because apparently this is a really big problem. I mean, we just had the Google incident where they fired the guy because of that memo,
Yeah.
right? So I end up, in one day I'm on the cover of Heat Street, the tech section of Heat Street and Breitbart, and I'm like, wow, that is incredible. That gains me all kinds of followers and sells a lot of money. I think I sold 100 that week all total, which is incredible. Well, now, how did I get landed in jail, right?
Yes.
I'm not going back and forth with these people because I'm not interested. Because what I learned is they want the attention. Like, I invited the one girl who apparently felt offended enough to leave the conference in tears, right? Oh, after my speech. It's the same one who was, quote tweeting it and loved it.
Wow.
Right? I messaged her after she said, "Oh, this dude is a hateful red pill misogynist." I messaged her and I said, "Hey, I'd love to talk to you about what you felt was wrong with my speech or any of my views. Let's talk." And she didn't respond because she wanted an audience. I learned, and they all want audience.
I see.
So I'm not responding to most of this. Finally, I decided to go, and I'm just letting people, fight with them.
Right.
Because that's one of the unintended perks of a large following is that
they'll fight for you. Yeah.
A lot of people will jump in the fight. Yeah. So I decided I was going to just poke some fun at them, just some fun. I was going to see Wonder Woman. So I posted, "Hey," and I tagged two of the women who had been coming at me hard. I said, "Hey, I'm going to go see Wonder Woman in my pink pussy hat. Does that make me a good feminist?" And the reference to those hats are from the Women's March that year. They had just been reporting everything I said, waiting for me to make some kind of slip up.
Shame on you, Ed. Shame on you.
Twitter decided that was the breaking point.
Really? Wow.
And so they speaking to me for 12 hours. And I said, "You know what?" And then I came out and wrote a thread. I was like, "Look, man, if you use Twitter the way I use it, just let it go." I've seen a lot of accounts because I'm not an extreme account, but a lot of extreme accounts like me and follow me. The people from all different areas follow me.
Right.
So I see a lot.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of accounts go down because they decided because they just needed to be right. And I'm like, you know what? Nah, man, it's not for me because my life has changed dramatically because of Twitter.
Yeah.
There's nothing I would do to put that in danger. It's just not worth it.
Here's the thing, though. When you were in jail for those 12 hours, did you had to have made some adjustments to insulate yourself in case it went away for you at some point? So I know you're careful now, but it seemed as arbitrary as anything to just delete your account. Others talk about shadow banning. So what did you put in place to protect yourself from that sandbox going away for you?
Put in place, I nothing like physical or technology, but in terms of the rules I adopted, I said, you know what? Here are a list of topics that I will not talk about. You will never see me tweet about feminism. I don't even. That's the F word to me, because that is what did a friend of mine say? If you plant a flag on what you're going to fight, you have to remember that you're going to attract combatants who want to be part of the war as well. So I don't plant flags to attract, people to fight. If I accidentally, and it's not accidental, I guess. I'm just smart about which words to use watching people go down. If I get people who decide they want to come and argue and debate, whatever,
Yeah.
I almost never insult anyone. I don't even want to risk it.
Yeah.
But plus, that's just not me.
Yeah, right.
If it looks like they're going one way, and I'm like, this is not a topic I want to deal with, mute, block, whatever.
I see.
Point is, like, if they delete me off Twitter or suspend me, they're gonna have to they're gonna have to be overt about it.
Yeah.
Like, we just want this guy gone, but I'm not that kind of personality.
Well,
I'm affiliated with a lot of them, but I don't do it at all. It's not my
But did you double
shtick.
down on your email? I think I remember you tweeting that, hey, guys, I was in Twitter jail. If you still want my content, better sign up for my email list. I think.
Sure. I used it to I used it to grab some emails, because that's the other thing. When you operate in this sphere, right?
Yeah.
Not like normal people, but away, and you're always working online and remote, and everything is about freedom. You really have to. You learn to see opportunity, and to me, I was like, well, they didn't suspend me. This is a great opportunity to add, 200 signups to the email list today. Hey, and it worked well enough. So
yeah, good. Okay, so we talked about some mistakes to avoid. If I'm a totally brand new Twitter user, what steps, because you said you did it the wrong way when you started to get strategically, what are like a couple of things that somebody who wants to either grow their platform or engagement, what are a couple things that they can do right off the bat?
Well, the first thing you have to do is first you got to make a great profile, and by great I mean it should just it should be your face, or if you're not going to use your face, some logo, some brand.
Yeah.
You should take advantage of the bio. I see so many people who don't do that. They just leave it be. And your header should be something useful, something that reflects you or projects what you're about. Because without that, no one knows you're worth, following. I worked with a guy, and he had some tweets go viral, but he didn't pick up that many followers. And I was like, well, your profile's trash, man. Like, because people will come to a profile, if they like the tweet.
Yeah.
I know it because I see the numbers, right?
Yeah. So he couldn't capitalize on it for example.
Right.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. First thing first. Second thing is pick people to follow who are, obviously, you follow whoever the top. But really, where you're going to get the most return is following people who are like, maybe mid-level players who don't have that many relative to like an 100,000 account.
Yeah.
You follow, and I think I followed Cernovic, right? So, and he had something like 30,000 followers, and I only had like 2,600. But I got Cernovic's attention enough times, retweeting, quote tweeting his stuff, and right. As a newbie, you don't retweet anything. You just stop it. You quote tweet and you put original stuff out, because when you quote tweet people, and if someone quote tweets me and it's good, I retweet it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's excellent. And so that works for them. So people will see it, maybe go to your profile, maybe follow you, because now you have you've hijacked, for lack of a better term, some of my cred.
Yeah. Now,
and that's the way to do it.
How often do you tweet? I mean, how many times an hour? Because obviously you run your own thing, right? You're doing it yourself, and you're pretty prolific. I mean, you tweet a lot. So how often are you on there?
Well, I know how many times I tweet in 28 days, because that's how the metric is delivered.
Okay.
I do an average, between 1,500 to 2,000 tweets a month. Wow. Now that counts replies.
Oh, okay.
As well, and I think I'm not sure. I think it counts retweets as well.
How are you efficient with that? Because I don't know. I just picture you being distracted by it, but obviously you're not, because you're so, effective otherwise. I mean, you're so productive otherwise. How do you manage that?
Well, I could get distracted, right? And I certainly have, but for the most part, what I do, if there's any advantage I have, is that I'm great at abstracting the core ideas from one thing and making it into wonderful language for another thing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's literally what writing is, right?
Yeah, and I think your brain is probably trained that way now. It's probably just how you see the world.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I say it all the time. I mean, I don't know where tweets stop and my brain begins. I mean, I'm not sure. But I do see things now in terms of lessons to present or ideas, and I've always naturally been that way anyway.
Yeah.
As sort of a philosopher, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So many times, I mean, people will testify to this. I simply am taking lines from a conversation I'm having. I'll be talking to someone, and I go, "Oh, that looks like it'd be a great tweet," and I just put it out. Or I'm sitting there, talking to somebody over dinner, and I make a mental note. That's an awesome idea. Let me tweet that later. So really, I've learned to see the world in terms of tweets, for lack of a better.
That makes sense.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's great because I also am very careful in how I use it. To me, it's a business tool. It's a free business tool, and
it really
for people who are doing things online and don't take advantage of a tool that lets people connect with you based solely on the merit of your ideas, then either they have bad ideas or they're missing.
Yeah.
They're missing.
Well, I noticed that you did not adopt the 280 character limit. I think you still do the 140, right?
Well, okay, so I used to, and then what happened is, you learn, you watch, and you see how people respond. I always try and be as brief as possible. That will never change.
Yeah.
What has changed is that it gives me a little room to present it stylistically. That's a lot of what.
Okay, so it's working for you. But you don't use the full 280 in at least what I've noticed. Okay. But you'll go over the 140. Yeah.
Occasionally, yeah. I definitely go over the 140, but I almost never use.
Yeah.
This is a great thing, this what is it? 280?
280.
This 280 character 280 characters was great for people like me because I'm always thinking how to make the idea as simple and succinct as possible. When I had 140 characters, there were some things I couldn't tweet or talk about because they were too long, even with me shortening it to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
Or I would shorten it and leave something vital out in terms of a preposition or a connecting phrase. So what 280 does, I mean, it just gives me a little more room to work.
Right.
I can't even imagine requiring 280 characters regularly. That blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about mechanics for a few more things. I haven't noticed you using photos so much. Do you bother with photos in your tweets?
Not really. I don't see the point. And or rather, rarely do I see the point. Sometimes, there is a point to be made, but
and maybe it's something about your audience too. They just
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Twitter is really, and this is why people like me have come to dominate it. Because I mean, to be honest with you, I don't run into accounts with except blue check marks that have more followers than me, and many blue check marks don't have as much as me.
Yeah.
And so what that tells me is that I'm at a pretty solid level of use.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because Twitter is the tool, to connect on the strength of your ideas and words alone. Instagram is for pictures, man.
True. That's true.
That's why I try and run people to my Instagram for pictures, and it's not. I'm not doing a bad job.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Twitter, yeah, I very rarely needed to share a picture. Occasionally I will, like for something I'm really proud of
Right.
or something that is highly relevant. I do share videos occasionally, clips from my workouts and things like that.
Do
So
you
something.
care? Do you care about a blue check mark? Because I don't think you have one. Do you? You're not verified, are
Nope.
you? Okay. Do you even care about it?
Not really, because I have my name, right?
Right.
I have more followers than most blue check marks that
And
I've
you,
seen.
but you
And
haven't had a trouble with anybody trying to copy your account or anything like that, or trying to be you.
no, and
Okay.
even if they could, man, they couldn't be me.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I
I
know that.
really like. I just those are the kinds of things that I don't worry about because of my fundamental understanding
Yeah.
of the application,
Yeah.
right? You know, if someone, let's put it like this: if you can duplicate me instantly and then create the kind of success and reach that I've cultivated through all my interviews and all my tweets and all my retweets and everything I've written, you know, man, you deserve it, but you can't do it.
Right.
So it's if I get the blue check mark, you know, maybe they'll decide to randomly give it to me over the next year.
Mm-hmm.
But even if they don't, I mean,
Yeah. You
that
don't
that
care.
does not change the what I can do with this.
And what's behind the decision? I noticed that sometimes you'll retweet something that has been popular, like your crack. I don't know. Or an article like don't be out hustled by a crack addict or something, which are
Yeah.
super succinct and powerful. What decision? How do you decide when to retweet something, either an old article or and how often do you do that?
Well, after 4 years of serious use, there's a lot of gold that's just
Yeah,
buried that a lot of my followers wouldn't have seen. I mean,
that's right.
if you started following me in 2017, there's a whole bunch of stuff I used to get
That's
me that
right.
far
Yeah,
that you didn't see.
yeah,
So I'll go back and retweet that because I know it's useful. I know it worked. I know it got a high level of engagement relative to my followers then. So popping it out now, I mean, woo, it blows up like wildfire.
that's cool.
So a lot of times that's what happens. And I don't remember what I retweeted. I just, I look at the Tom Hop app. It'll show me what I did. And I'm like, oh, that looks cool. That got a lot
Okay.
of engagement. Let me put that out. And now there are some evergreen tweets that people really like that I go back and retweet again, like the crackhead one,
That is a great one.
and certain
Yeah.
and certain articles I pop out and share repeatedly. But for the most part, I mean, I'm just that's what drives my decision. I look at how a thing did when I originally put it out. I look at the date and I think about where I was approximately. I'm like, wow, if it did that then, people are really going to like it now, and it's going to help me grow and gain a bigger following.
Yeah. Now, I think maybe you told me that you were working on a book of Twitter strategies. Are you still planning to do that?
You know what? Oh man. So I've got like three big
Project.
things I want to deliver on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was really a matter of breaking it down to go, okay, I tried to make the decision based on what would be most profitable.
Yeah.
And that didn't work because I know what will be most profitable, and I know that's the idea I'm least excited about. For example, like the math course I was telling you about.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to do that,
Yeah.
but I know that it has a specific niche audience, and to really make it go big, I want to have to do a bit more work than I was expecting, but I don't mind it, so I'm probably going to go with that.
Yeah.
As far as that Twitter project, that's still very much in the works because I see, I mean, there is no one who can do what I do, and I know, and more importantly, I'm starting to really understand why. Because it's useless if I go, oh, you follow these tactics and techniques,
Yeah.
and you'll get followers too. But one, that's not true.
Yeah.
Two, I am a certain person,
Right.
and that person is interesting and attractive to many people.
Yeah.
So I was like, how can I make this a thing that is applicable to everyone? How can I show people how to tweet? And that's what I've been working on.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to put that out.
Good. Well, because
That's
I think
still really important to
once
me.
you once you focus on that, I think you could bang that out in a relatively short amount of time and just put it up there. So it is a thing that's evergreen. Well, maybe it won't be evergreen, but yeah, I think you could produce that relatively quickly for return, you know?
Yeah. So either way, I know that there are people who would learn from me, and they can just come look and say, "Oh wow, he did that. He didn't even have a blue check mark. It's 47.6." They'll scroll through the tweets and see they're not bots. They're all real. Look at the engagement of my work.
Yeah.
They'll go, "Okay, this is somebody to listen." So I know I carry the cloud. I just, now that I'm done with school, I can do these projects, and really, I really think 2018 is gonna. It's already been the best year.
That's amazing.
In many regards in my life, and I really think the best of the year is yet to come,
That's
and
so
that
great.
would be a great component.
That's good.
To the year.
I'm so happy to hear that. And aside from your physics course and that other writing project about Twitter, what else are you excited about coming up?
So I have the first draft has been done for maybe a month or two of my next book, which is called Drunken Letters to My Sober Self. That's how it's titled anyway.
Cool. Yeah.
Or sober letters
yeah.
to my drunken self.
Yeah,
right.
Good.
Because I wanted to write about the transition to sobriety. Because when I was talking to people about it, I got a lot of misinformation and I got a lot of fear-based information. And also I got a lot of information that simply wasn't true.
You mean when you were talking to people about getting sober yourself?
Oh yeah, I mean I talk about this in the book. I mean,
okay.
I love my friends to death, but many of them said, "Are you sure you have a problem?" I'm like, "Yo, are you crazy? Do you see me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but that's just we all drink." I'm like, and that's the thing. Like you can't talk to drinkers, especially people you've been drinking with, about your drinking problems. They will always, because they have to, otherwise they risk turning that mirror inward. So
that's in that you finished the first draft of that?
Finished the first draft. So, and I'm really excited because I think I titled it that way. If someone was to sit down with me and tell me a lot of things about what to expect emotionally, which is most important. No one warned me about that. Everyone warned me that my social life would change, of course. No one warned me about the different phases of emotion you would go through and how you would have to learn to readjust and interact with life.
Wow.
So I really want to warn and talk about that. And so this would be a letter that I wish someone would have written to me. So that's what I came from. It really is, from the heart.
Are you self-publishing that too?
I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Right now I had one independent house interested, so I have to, ask if they're still not. Mm-hmm. I think at this point I probably could get away with somebody giving me an advance for it.
Yeah.
The thing is this, right? But here's the thing. I learned that this is one of the biggest takeaways from my first book, which had a lot of mistakes. I mean, I'm still, going back and editing. I thought I got a lot of the typos that were in there, but it's still a strong book that people continually get value from. Yeah. And I take all the profits without distribution. Yeah. Or rather not factoring in distribution, because obviously Amazon is going to take a cut because they host it and mail it out, as they should.
Sure,
right? Yeah. But my main thing is, after you do a thing like this without a publisher, you ask yourself, what the heck do I need a publisher for?
Oh, yeah.
Like I really think about that. I mean, between my reach and the people I have who want to work with me and want to see me do well, and the sheer number of interviews and mailing lists that I have access to if I go, hey, I have this coming out, plus I have a better understanding of marketing, it really comes down to how much do you enjoy the process.
Right.
Because I'm sure, and what I'm saying is this, I'm sure that there are publishers or marketing companies who could do it better, who will want to sign me. That's not what I'm saying. My thing is it worth it to me to hand over that when I knew how to have a launch now, like I know how to have the first month.
Right. I agree with that. Yeah.
Books. So that's where I'm at. I mean, with that said, having a publisher, it's like the degree, right? I don't
Oh,
plan
for
on
sure.
going to industry, but now
Yeah.
I have an undebatable piece of clout. I got a physics degree. What's your degree in, right? Hey,
Yeah.
I can just hear myself saying it like that. Right now, I wouldn't say it that way because I don't care to judge people based on that. Certainly no, I didn't have this accomplished for most of my life at this point. So I don't think that way, but I am aware of where I am positioned and the reach I have access to,
Yeah.
not just my own. I have access to in the network and the arms of it. So I'll think about it. What I'll likely do is some kind of hybridization project because I really do. This the cool thing about having a publisher is they pay for the copy editing. That is,
That
you
is nice. Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because you can pay.
Yeah.
When I published my first book, I was broke, didn't have it, so I was
Wow.
doing it all myself and having people look over it and read over it and catch things. So I really did the best I could. This time though, I'll just type up a few more drafts, get it to sound the way I want it to sound, then pop it off and then start that process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think maybe a few years ago there was a thing where somebody in their brain said, "Well, if they're going to publish a book, they wanted it to be published by a house, right? Just to have that accomplishment." But I think there's just no difference now, except for the ones that you talked about. If you want to, outsource a certain aspect of it, it makes sense. But I think from a financial aspect, it makes sense to do it
Oh,
yourself.
for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
unless they're going to give me the whole point, the whole idea is that you'd have to give me so much up front to make the odd and
Yeah.
or to make it worth it. I mean, well, are you going to give me 25,000 up front
Right.
and let my royalties pay off the back end? That'd be awesome
Right.
because at
Hey,
the
you
end,
might be able to get
like,
that.
like at the end of the day, I have no idea how many books it'll sell. How many
Right.
books will sell? Right?
Do you
No clue.
know? Do you know if you can get on the New York Times bestseller list with a self-published book? I think you can, because that used to be another barrier. People would say, "I don't want to self-publish because I want an option to be on the New York Times bestseller." But I think you can do that as a self-publish.
I hope you can, but if you can't,
It
so
doesn't matter for you.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, it really doesn't. That once again, it's like the blue check mark. It'd be
Right.
cool to have,
Right.
but how is it gonna make my reach? Now,
Yeah.
if someone can make the case, yeah, man, that blue check mark, that's gonna make more people buy the book and make it easier for you to book speaking if
Yeah.
you want to do that. Okay, then I'm like, maybe I should go after it. But even still, I mean,
Hmm.
I have such a unique and Googleable story
Yeah.
that
Oh, you really
I'm
do.
just I'm just not.
You really
I,
do.
I, I've done, I do a lot of work with my buddy Cam and helping him.
Yeah.
And one thing that I try and get him to understand and see is that if you can make yourself the brand and put the work in to build up your imaging, your presentation, then you already come to the table with more than they could offer.
Yeah.
Right. So they have to react and be on the offensive dealing with you or be on the defensive. The situation changes. So like for example, if things don't work out with this indie publisher, I know, and the only reason, and I'm going to go to them first because I did say I'm going to let you look at it first and see what you
Okay.
think.
Okay.
And I really, I think your word is really important in these kind of things.
Yeah, for sure.
And but if they don't, then I'm going to be able to say, look here, man. Here are the numbers that I did. Here's who I am. Here's what I do. Here's what I've written. Here's what people know me for.
Mhm.
Everyone, you're going to be able to move this many books. We're not even talking about combining it with your expertise. And when people go to look me up, or rather your reach, and when people go to look me up, they're going to see a well-defined, established
Yeah.
presence. What can you do for me,
Right.
right?
Oh,
And
for
if
sure.
they say nothing, that doesn't change anything. That when they say the person who cares the least controls the negotiation, nail on the head.
Yeah, you're in a good position for that. Well, I just want to make sure that I didn't leave anything out that you wanted to mention today.
Oh no, man! And like I said at the beginning, whatever you want to talk about, I love to share and try to get back and really just make the thing interesting. My worst fear is that someone would hear a podcast and be like, man, that guy's dry as paint. Tell me you
Not
don't
at
like
all. No
Tell me you
way.
don't like me. I can deal with that.
Yeah, no, you're not boring. In fact, I might have to start another podcast so I have another reason to talk to to you about something else, because I've been wanting to chat with you for so long, but I didn't have, a real reason to, except for just to get to know you. So this is perfect. Well, congrats on your degree. I'm so proud of you, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. By the way, you've raised an excellent daughter. I'm very.
Yeah, you're getting to know Hannah a little bit.
Yeah, Anna and I really think highly of her. We've gone to a few events where she's been and been working.
That's so
and stuff.
Cool.
She's just very very cool.
Well,
nice work.
They appreciate everybody's support just with this new thing that they're starting. So yeah, I appreciate. Thanks for mentioning that. I always forget that connection, like that you kind of know the same people in Pittsburgh that I do. But no. Before we go, where's the best place to, besides Twitter? Your Twitter handle is Ed Latimore, right?
Yes.
And then where's the best place that people can check out your work?
www.edlatimore.com. My
great.
website for sure, not even a question.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure our paths will cross this summer for sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Ed. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Ed Latimore, and I appreciate his time. I thought he shared some really practical tips, whether or not you want to use Twitter or another social platform strategically or as a business tool. He just gave some information about how you can improve your engagement and your experience. But also, the thing about this interview is I actually cut out about probably 20 or 30 minutes, both on the front end and toward the back end, because it wasn't related to Twitter, but we sort of just casually started talking about a lot of different things that he does, including some information about his boxing, and that was interesting, how he's planning to prepare for his next match, and just different things that I'm gonna put together as bonus content, and I will link to those in the show notes eventually, probably not before this episode is published, but I'll just have to go back and update it. And if you follow Ed on Twitter, which I encourage you to do because he's really thoughtful, super smart, and you'll learn something from him. But I will let him know when that bonus content is available, and you can check that out. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.